Alright everyone, welcome back to Planet Zoo. In this one, we're not building up any new habitat or adding any new animals, but instead we're really just filling in a lot of gaps between the habitats we've built up here in the Petrified Plateaus. Really just a lot of the stuff that I wouldn't end up doing if I wasn't going to do it in an episode. I also made some pretty cool custom pieces that you'll see me make towards the second half of the time lapse, but right now, what I want to talk to you about is what this series is going to be doing over the next few weeks. So if you're either in the Discord or following us on Twitter, we've got a new Twitter by the way, I'll link that in the description for you guys to follow if you're interested. And of course the Discord is always in the description. I really do recommend you do either one of these if you sub to the channel because you'll get way more updates on that than in these videos. It's just a better way to keep up with what's going on the channel, what series might be changing, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely the best place to go. And speaking of series changing, Planet Zoo is going to be going away for just a few weeks because it's going to be a longer running series. Obviously we're nowhere near done with this entire zoo and I'm nowhere near running out of inspiration or things to do in this game, but I do think because it is a longer running series it's nice to give it just a little break here in the middle. So on Twitter and in the Discord I've put up a poll in the announcement section of Discord saying, in this little hiatus from Planet Zoo, what game should I play? The three options were Megaquarium, Abzoo and Subnautica. At the moment Subnautica is absolutely destroying the competition, so I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be, but if you have any opinions on that, of course, go to the Discord, check out the Twitter, go on the poll and vote if you want any of those other series. And of course, join the Discord if you have any other suggestions for games. Obviously this series will just be me, so keep that in mind when you're picking the game. Obviously most of them are single player anyway. But once we're done with whatever series wins, we will be coming straight back to Project COVEA with a bit of a revamp of this entire series. Don't get me wrong, I still love this series, I think it's nice and chill, I like the music in the background, but there are definitely some things I want to change and I think this is when I want to do it. Don't get me wrong, it'll still be the same style, the same series, just with a few upgrades that might make it that bit more enjoyable to watch. It's really just something that might bother me. You guys might not even notice some of the things that I'm talking about upgrading here, but there's something that annoys me and it improves the quality of the videos, therefore I'm going to do it. Also on my list of long things to talk about today is the streams that I finally got around to doing. If you're in the Discord you already knew about this, but this last Sunday, the Sunday before this video went up, I did my first ever stream on Planet Zoo where we built up the Red Hot Chili Pandas restaurant, or at least built up about half of it. So right now my stream days are Sundays, although Soup has Saturdays and sometimes he can't do it then so he goes on to Sundays. So I might change up the day that I stream, but for right now it is Sunday. And those streams are going to be going all the way through this next Subnautica or whatever other series you guys vote on. So if you still want your weekly dose of COVEA, there's definitely going to be that up on the channel. It won't be in video form, but it will be on streams for about 2 hours every Sunday at 7 PM BST. So if you're interested, tune in then. I'd very much love to see all of your pretty faces there. That's also part of the reason we're doing all these kind of maintenance tasks in this episode. We've got a lot of stuff to do, but I pretty much want to say goodbye to all the projects that we've got running here at the moment, so that when we come back from Planet 4546b, we can jump straight into all these new projects, all these cool little builds in animal habitats, without having to worry about all the stuff that we haven't finished in these previous areas. So we're pretty much wrapping up every other episode that we've done. If I just haven't finished a certain thing in those episodes, we'll be doing those all before we come back with this new revamped version of COVEA in a few weeks' time. By the way, if you didn't get that, Planet 4546b is the planet that Subnautica takes place on. So to reiterate, we've got this episode, episode 11, and next week's episode, episode 12, and then we'll be going into Subnautica, which I'm really looking forward to doing. And now the third topic of conversation. Frontier tends to release a new DLC for Planet Zoo every 3 months. First we had the Arctic pack way back in December, then at the start of this series, just before episode 1 came out, we had the South America pack. And of course, episode 12 will mean it's been 3 months since the South America pack, so chances are sometime soon we're going to be getting a brand new DLC pack, hopefully with some endangered species for us to add to Project COVEA. If that does happen during the Subnautica period, I might make an effort to come back to COVEA just for a couple episodes to add those new animals because I'll be really excited to do them. And because views. We want views, boys, that's what we want. Most of the Planet Zoo community seem to think it's an Australian pack, which personally I don't think it is. I don't know what I think it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be an Australian pack. Regardless, if it is an Australian pack, I think it's pretty obvious we'll get koalas and wallabies, but some other more abstract things we might get, like potoroos, wyoles, wombats, snapping turtles, flying foxes possibly, although if you don't know, those are bats pretty much, so I'm not as confident in those being released. Same thing goes for the hawksbill sea turtles, an animal that I really love in real life, except of course they are turtles, mostly aquatic, and thus Planet Zoo probably won't have them at least for a while. Real quick before I go on a rant about these hawksbill sea turtles, I want to talk about the ruins that I've been building up here in the background. The idea of this is that they would have a rope attached to the higher part of these ruins that would go all the way down to the bottom part, and then people could kind of hoist themselves up, put their feet on the rock face in front of them, and pull themselves onto the higher point of the plateaus to get a nice view over the surrounding area or something like that. And structurally here, one of the walls looked absolutely ridiculous, like it was going to fall over any minute, so I used these breeze block pillars that you'll see here in a minute to kind of look like it's propping the ruins up, kind of preserving the previous artifacts. There it is right there. So it's kind of like, as we've moved into this area of the jungle, we've tried to preserve all these ruins as we've mentioned previously, and we've done that by supporting it with these modernized breeze blocks. But hawksbill sea turtles, time to give you guys an education. As I mentioned, they tend to live around the reefs of Australia and Oceania, but throughout the year they migrate all the way along the equator, and they pretty much live around any part of the ocean's world. The ocean's world? What? Whatever, you know what I mean, around the world's oceans. When they're young, their carapace is kind of heart-shaped, but as they grow older it elongates and becomes more circular like you expect it to be. The carapace, by the way, is the name of the upper shell of a turtle or tortoise. Also, when they're young, they can eat pretty much anything. Cnidarians, I can never say that word, Cnidarians? Something like that, jellyfish basically. Jellyfish, mollusks, and sponge, stuff like that. But as they get older, they pretty much eat entirely sponge, staying in the coral reefs and stuff like that. And sometimes they even eat the jellyfish known as the Portuguese man of war, which you guys might have heard about if you are, you know, into animals and stuff like that. Chances are you have, they are pretty famous. They are one of the most dangerous jellyfish in the world, and yet the hawksbill sea turtle can eat them because they've developed a kind of hard shell over their head that prevents them from getting stung. So yeah, all around just a pretty incredible animal, and something that I definitely would like to learn a little bit more about should I get the chance. But back to talk about the actual gameplay. In the background you can see me here, I built up this kind of overlooking platform area type thing. I'm actually really proud of this custom piece. It works really well in the area, although maybe the white is a little bit too bright. Maybe I'll change it later. It's a very easy thing to change if I do want to do so. And what you can see me building here is a bench to go on them. Obviously, well, not obviously if you don't play Planet Zoo. If you don't play Planet Zoo, you can't place benches on anywhere but the edge of a path. It kind of snaps them to the path, which is really irritating. I don't quite understand why they've done that, but hey. So these benches have to be custom made so I can place them off the path, and they aren't actually usable by any of the guests. But that doesn't matter to me because the guests suck, people suck, and I have my zoo closed 99.9% of the time anyway, so suck it. And when I say people, of course I mean anyone that doesn't watch the Epic Mystical Hatters YouTube channel, because you guys are all gamers! Oh, why do you guys watch him? I'm an idiot. Anyways, we've got just a couple minutes left of the time-lapse, just a lot of placing plants and stuff like that. Then I'm going to give you guys a little overview properly in real time, and I'm going to show you what we did in stream, so the start of the Red Hot Chili Pandas restaurant. So now sit back, relax, enjoy the music, and I'll see you in just a couple minutes. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the time-lapse. We're back in real time to give you guys a proper look around all the stuff that's been going on today, and over the past few episodes, really, we've got a really nice atmosphere all the way up here in the plateaus now. As you can see here, the ruins on the left are complete. We've got all the foliage and all that stuff around it. I actually really like this little bench area. I think it's really neat. I might move these pieces over all the way over there at some point, just, you know, to use them a second time so they don't look quite as random, because at the moment they do look a little bit random. But I don't think I mentioned this in the time lapse just because I had so much other stuff to talk about. But this staff path now, obviously the actual guests cannot walk along this path. The staff path just cuts off here, goes down into this lower area, and I tried to make it run as close to this little rock wall as possible. So basically, when you stood on this path, you can't really see that. The seating area definitely helps with that, and as you go along here, once we have other plants, this will be pretty much invisible to the people just walking along here like normal. In fact, I should be able to get a proper view at what the player height will look like, or the person's height. It really doesn't matter, but just for the sake of checking it, that is not the button I meant to press. I want to change you to Tedget Cam. Boom. So this is the height of a normal person in the game. And yeah, as you're walking along here, there's not a single point you can see it apart from here, when obviously there's not as much trees covering it up. But the struggle here is making these plants tall enough to cover all that path down there, and short enough not to block the view into the Bengal tiger and Bornean orangutan habitats. And again, as you can see, we've got this little area we talked about between the bonobos and the Bengal tiger. It's using a similar style to the little barricade that we've got all the way down here. So you can definitely tell I'm trying to use all the same materials to do similar things. I'm using the breeze block, all these white woods and stuff like that all throughout the place. And here, even though they're not technically the same type of pieces, these are actually the back of doors, so they are wooden, these little white bits here, and then these are actually columns which look similar to the breeze block. So it's just trying to make sure we're using similar materials to make a proper full filling ambience in this area. We still have these little viewing platforms and whatnot to do, but we'll do those at some point. Because there's not quite as much to show you in this one, I think what I'm going to do is at the end of this video I'm going to add some cinematic shots just tracking through this valley with the Bornean orangutan Bengal tiger, and opposed by this little path walking along here. I really like the cinematics we did at the end of the red panda habitat build, but the only reason I really did those is because of course my mic wasn't working at that point. But I wouldn't mind adding them when it is really just stuff like this little maintenance stuff that we've been doing today, of course. And I have just realized that this is wrong. Let me fix that real quick. Move that around there, grab these, pull these two down, and that is all we needed to do. Perfect, that is fixed and looks just like the other side. But what I also want to show you, of course, as I mentioned earlier from this stream, we started the Red Hot Chili Pandas restaurant, so I really want to go show you guys that really quick, and I have my camera sitting on slow, so it's going to take me a minute to get over here. Let's go right now. Perfect, we've made it over to the Ruby Basin once more, and you can see we've made a start on this. There's going to be another floor, I believe, but we might cap off some of the ceilings and stuff like that. To be honest, I really didn't have much of a plan. I just knew that I wanted to make it somewhat oriental, which I think we've definitely succeeded at. I'm really big fan of this entrance, but I'm not sure how it really meshes with the other stuff. It looks a little bit big and random, jutting out like that, but it definitely suits the area, I think. It uses some different materials, but some of them are the same, like these rocks and whatnot. And of course, we've got the conventional red that we've got all over these little shelter areas and stuff like that. And to reiterate, because I feel like some people are going to comment on this, RHCPR stands for Red Hot Chili Pandas Restaurant, not Red Hot Chili Pandas. I know some people would say it's RHCP. Shut up, it's not. I put the R in the end to separate it. It's different, okay? Anyway, yeah, so like I said, we're going to be finishing up this entire Ruby Basin area throughout these streams between now and the revamp of Project COVEA that's going to be coming in a few weeks' time. And also, if I go ahead and switch it to night and let it go now, obviously there's not lighting completely finished, but the little sign is lit up here, and I think it looks quite nice. Actually creates a nice ambience. You wouldn't want it to be too bright, because I imagine that would actually interrupt a lot of the natural animals here's sleeping patterns and stuff like that. For example, if the hippos had a huge bright light, like a lighthouse just beaming at them overnight, it might stress them out a little bit. But yeah, that is about it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch more content. I am now going to throw you guys into some cinematics. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining. Bye!